Joe Biden says, listen, I'm not going to give a commencement speech at a PWI. I'm going to give a commencement speech at Howard, of all places. Tell me that you're not trying to secure the black vote without saying that you're trying to secure the black vote. You know what I'm saying? Joe Biden doing a commencement speech at Howard. J-Tay, I see you. Definitely going to be reading y'all super chats throughout the show. For sure, I don't forget. Let's get into this whole Joe Biden situation, ladies and gentlemen, because, again, I think that it is very, very interesting that we see this playing out and we see this happening. Hopefully, I don't have to go over the whole speech in order for me to get the gist of what it is that he's trying to say. But let's go ahead and get into it. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's kick it. Joe talks a little slow, so I might speed it up for the people in the back, y'all.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that introduction. Dr. Morris, thank you for the incredible honorary degree. And thank you, President Frederick, for the invitation and for your leadership in your alma mater. Serena, student body president, College of Pharmacy, class speaker. And just remember, when you're president of the United States and they say Joe Biden's out in the waiting room to say hello, promise me you will not say Joe who. Right?
Who wrote that joke?
You all think I'm kidding. To the distinguished faculty and staff, thank you for having me, and to the parents and families in the class of 2023, congratulations. And by the way, we will get to giving you your degrees. I promise that's coming.
Who wrote this speech for Joe? You know these people don't never write their own speech. Y'all say it's too fast. I slowed it down. I slowed it down to 1.5 times. Slowed it down.
You are here with the heart and through the heartache, through blood, sweat, and tears of everything that's come before, for everything yet to come. You're here at a new moment of hope and possibilities. For graduates, before we begin, as mentioned many times, tomorrow's Mother's Day. Stand for your mothers and grandmothers. Stand and thank them.
I think that's a reasonable speech, right?
Where I come from, moms rule. My friend, and he is my friend, Congressman Jim Clyburn. The thing that I admire most about you, Jim, is your absolute integrity in everything you do. In everything you do. This is a man of honor. I attended South Carolina State University's commencement as Jim received his degree he earned 60 years ago, but never got a chance to receive it in person.
If it's still too
Jim,
fast,
it's an honor to join you here today and receive an honorary degree from this great university. And it's truly special to join fellow honorees, Prime Minister Rowley. Prime Minister, I didn't know you were so talented. I just thought you were a foreign policy, Latin American guy. We got to talk. All kidding aside, thank you for being a strong partner in the Caribbean and for addressing climate change and supporting democracies across the Western Hemisphere. I'm also honored that, as a person here today, Dr. Tony Allen. He's president of my home state, BCU, Delaware State University, where I got politically started. I was fortunate to have Tony as a Senate staffer for a long time. Then he got his PhD, had a distinguished career in business, and became president of HBCU. Now Tony chairs my White House Board of Advisors on HBCUs, which is designed to support and advance HBCU excellence with a lot more money. I'm also proud to say that we're the first White House to formally convene where the real power is, the Divine Nine. Oh, y'all think I'm kidding. Not a joke. The Divine Nine not only has a seat at the table, we definitely hear you at the table. And they're our first time ever at the White House, permanently. So folks, in 2023, I'm truly honored to be here at Howard. Chartered 156 years ago by an act of Congress just after emancipation of the Civil War. Founded on a hilltop in Washington, D.C., the Mecca.
With him sped up, don't it sounds like he's actually able to sound normal and communicate like a regular person? He's really playing it up. He's mentioning the Divine Nine and all of that. I mean, it's a good speech so far. He's playing up and giving credit and throwing jokes in between it. And sounds like the same people that used to be with Obama wrote this speech. But let's continue.
The Mecca. Always promoting excellence, leadership, and truth and service. It really has. A proving ground for future leaders of science, medicine, education, business, faith, arts, entertainment, public service. Trailblazing intellectuals, lawyers, doctors. The first black, I might say, Vice President of the United States of America.
What is that?
Say that again. Kamala sends her love, and she sends...
Oh, Cam. Why didn't they have Cam? That's my question, right? Why didn't they have Kamala Harris? Because Kamala Harris is also a, she's one of them things, an AKA. Cam is an AKA, right? Why they didn't have Cam come and do it? Come and give the commencement speech. And he's really playing it up. And remember, y'all, what I was telling y'all. Everything is sales, right? Joe Biden is not giving his commencement speech because he just really likes Howard University or HBCUs. You know, the interesting thing about it is that if Trump would have came and gave this speech, he probably would have got booed. But Trump, based off of all of the data and the statistics that I've read, was one of the people that helped fund and give more money over to the HBC. Love, in my opinion, is based off of what you do. It's an action word. It's not a feeling, right? And the thing about it is that y'all just sit here and let these people play on y'all emotions in order to continue to get y'all vote. They show up at your HBCU. They use your tax dollars in order to fly Air Force One and over there to get there. Listen, this reminds me of women versus men. It reminds me of women versus men. And let me tell you why. Women largely think that love is how you make them feel. Men look at love as what it is that you do for them, right? So I love you because we warm in this house and the lights work and we got food in the refrigerator and y'all got coats and my daughter is able to get to school safely and you got a car that you ain't got to worry about breaking down and you got insurance and you got life insurance. You got car insurance, life insurance, you got the whole 9 yards, right? That's what men see love as. We see it as something that I do for you because if I love you, I will make sure that you're taken care of. From the liberal perspective, they see love as the ability to be able to acknowledge you, which is something that I see black people do all the time. They want you to acknowledge the things that is sentimental and meaningful to them. That's where they got this whole love language stuff from. That's where they got love language from. And then a woman will tell you, well, my love language is gifts, frankincense, and myrrh. And so now you're supposed to acknowledge her love language by doing all of the little things all the time and buying her little trinkets and gifts and trying to be fucking thoughtful and you trying to take over the world. Neither here nor there.
A clear message that today I have the privilege, she points out, of speaking at the real HU. Now you realize that's going to cost me at home. There's enormous pride in this university, founded in the verses of Howard Anthem, and I quote, "Reared against the eastern sky, proudly there on hilltop high, there she stands for truth and right, sending forth her rays of light." It matters. It matters. It matters. We're living through one of the most consequential moments in our history, with fundamental questions at stake for our nation. Who are we? What do we stand for? What do we believe? Who will we be?
Y'all do realize that this is still sped up, so it makes it seem like he's actually talking at a normal speed. He sounds normal right now because we sped it up in order to get through this speech, but let's continue.
You're going to help answer those questions. Let me take you back to January 2009. I stood in Wilmington, Delaware on the train station of Amtrak, carrying my folder, waiting to be picked up by a guy named Barack Obama. The first black...
Who, might I add, absolutely did nothing for black people but spent the majority of his time advocating for the alphabet community. Neither here nor there.
Man elected president of the United States. I was there to join him as vice president on the way to the historic inauguration in Washington. A moment of extraordinary hope, but also as I stood there, and this is the God's truth, I couldn't help think about another day I stood there. It wasn't much more than your age. I just got out of law school. I'd gone to work for a big firm, but my state, because of when Dr. King was assassinated, my city parts were burned to the ground. With a very conservative governor, he stationed the National Guard in every corner with drawn bayonets for 10 months. I quit and became a public defender. I used to have to introduce my clients. No, that's not so noble. I had to interview my clients down at the Wilmington train station when they were arrested on East Side. That's where they'd be taken. In the aftermath of the riots that burned Wilmington following his assassination. In 2009, while waiting for Barack, I was both living history at the same time I was reliving it. A vivid demonstration when it comes to race in America. Hope doesn't travel alone. It's shadowed by fear, by violence, and by hate. But after the election and the re-election of the first black American president, I had hope that the fear, violence, and hate was significantly losing ground.
Let me tell y'all something. Hope could quite possibly be one of the most dangerous things that's ever been sold to the American people and the black community. Hope is the thing wished and that you're looking for, but in most instances, it's truly out of the grasp of most people, but it allows for them to continue to push you in the direction that they want to push you in. So, for example, you hoped that things were going to change for you and your family from a financial perspective and for the black community as a result of what Barack Obama sold you. His whole campaign was built off of hope. Not an if-then statement, not results, not opportunity, not truth. Hope. Hope. Hope is the thing that you believe that allows for you to continue to get up every day and do something that's not in your best interest because you're waiting for something to change. Listen, and I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. Somebody tell me where hope is in the Bible. Somebody tell me where hope is in the Bible. It says faith, but faith without works is dead. What is hope? What is hope? You hope that your teacher gonna give you a good grade, but you know for a fact you failing. You hope she gonna give you some pussy, but you know for a fact she ain't looking at you as the man that she gonna sleep with that night. You hope to one day make $1 million, but you don't really have no pathway to get there. Hope is the thing that the preachers sell you every single Sunday over in the black community. And when you go into the most desperate communities, is one on every single church. It's a black church on every single corner in the most desolate parts of the United States of America. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Let's continue.
After no longer being vice president, I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania for 4 years. But in 2017, in Charlottesville, Virginia, crazed neo-Nazis with angry faces came out of the fields literally with torches.
Now we about to do the race hustle. They should literally make up a dance for that. The race hustle. Now we about to start playing on the whole white supremacy, black people, white people, and crazed KKK members has come out with torches to go and burn everything to the ground. If you don't see this play, come on, y'all. Come on, wait. We in 2023. We got ChatGPT. You can literally go and look this up. This is the race hustle. This is 2023, and he's about to play the race hustle. Come on, y'all. Please don't tell me that y'all about to fall for this. My people. My people. And when I say my people, I'm not even saying black people. I'm talking about people with a brain that can think for themselves, that allows for themselves to be able to look at things objectively. Come on, y'all. You're not going for this, right? Okay. I have not seen this speech, and so I'm looking at it for the first time as like y'all are.
Carrying Nazi banners from the woods and the fields, chanting the same anti-Semitic bile heard across Europe in the 30s, something I never thought I would ever see in America. Accompanied by Klansmen and white supremacists, emerging from dark rooms and remote fields and the anonymity of the internet, confronting decent Americans of all backgrounds, standing in their way into the bright light of day. And a young woman, objecting to their presence, was killed.
Oh my God.
What did you hear? That famous quote when asked about what happened. The famous quote. There are very fine people on both sides. That's when I knew, and I'm not joking, that's when I knew I had to stay engaged and get back into public life.
That was his wake-up call, y'all. That's when he knew. That's when he knew that it was time for him to completely change the narrative and move in a different direction, because that was the wake-up call. Oh, Jesus Christ, Lord, have mercy on my soul. Bless me, Jesus, to just continue to tell the truth and look at it for exactly what it is, and not to be bamboozled by these politicians that continue to sell us this bag of goods. Come on, bro. That's when he knew that it was time for him to stand up and do the thing that he was supposed to do.
No, I don't say it for that reason. I say it for the journey. I don't have to tell you that fearless progress toward justice often meets ferocious pushback from the oldest and most sinister of forces. That's because hate never goes away. I thought when I graduated we could defeat hate, but it never goes away. It only hides under the rocks. And when it's given oxygen, it comes out from under that rock. And that's why we know this truth as well. Silence is complicity. It cannot remain silent. We have to live through this battle for the soul of the nation. And it is still a battle for the soul of the nation. What is the soul of a nation? Well, I believe the soul is the breath, the life, the essence of who we are. The soul makes us us. The soul of America is what makes us unique among all nations. We're the only country founded on an idea, not geography, not religion, not ethnicity, but an idea. The sacred proposition rooted in Scripture and enshrined in the Declaration of Independence that we're all created equal in the image of God and deserve to be treated equally throughout our lives.
Do y'all know that this country wasn't founded? It was people already here before it was colonized and a war took place, and they gave the blankets full of diseases over into the Indians and moved them over to reservations, hopefully into places where... And I'm cool with it, because that's what happens. That's what happened since the beginning of time. It was warring. It was tribes. It was people that was coming over here from other nations, and they seen an opportunity and they said, yes, we coming over here to take this land. That's how the nation was discovered, from people that then took it over, colonized it, and made it what it is today, and we all are benefiting as a result of it. But come on, what are we talking about? Founded. Everything on this earth is stolen. Every single thing on this earth is stolen. There is not one land where there has not been killing, stealing, pillaging, destroying, and warring for resources and for geography. The lines that are painted between the states that we then declared as a state as recently as 200 years ago in some cases, 150 years ago in some cases. The war between the North and the South, the freeing of the slaves. It wasn't because we were a great nation and everybody was to be under God, indivisible. It wasn't. It was because they wanted to weaken the South. What are y'all talking about? Come on, man. Come on, man. And now it's a different type of war. It's a class war. You just don't see it taking place. By the time you figure it out, it's already going to be too late. Unless you're a bag chaser. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Reading super chat shortly. Let's continue.
While we've never fully lived up to that promise, we've never before fully walked away from it. We know that American history has not always been a fairy tale. From the start, it's been a constant push and pull for more than 240 years between the best of us, the American ideal that we're all created equal, and the worst of us, the harsh reality that racism.
I don't even think black people think that. Black people don't even believe that. Black people don't believe that. Some of the most vile, evil, ugly, racist people that I've ever seen in my entire... Yo, go into Big Mama's kitchen and one of these living rooms in Thanksgiving and see what they really think about you. They talk like that about you as a family member, and they will talk like that against the white people. Bring a white girl home right now while Big Mama's still living and see what she say. Don't you bring no, she gonna turn into Umar Johnson. Don't you bring no white devil in my house. I can't believe you. Don't you bring no snow bunny in my house or no snow puppy in my house. Some of the most wild things. Now, it didn't seem wild to you because that was just normal talking rhetoric every single day. But some of the most wild things that I've ever heard in my entire life was going over to visit some of my friends and seeing what their mama and their grandmama thought. I said, these people is just as evil as the people that they hate. That's the truth. That is the truth. Sit in any living room on Thanksgiving dinner. Once the drinks start flowing, you're going to see what they really feel about your white girlfriend. Talk about.
Has long torn us apart. It's a battle that's never really over.
I say the things that people really want to say, but they're afraid to say it. I say the things that people really want to say, but they don't really want to be honest about the truth of the whole situation. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to put some backbone in it.
But on the best days, enough of us have the guts and the hearts to stand up for the best in us. To choose love over hate, unity over disunion, progress over retreat. To stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did in my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy.
I can tell you right now, I'm not going to make it through this. I'm not going to make it through this speech. He said the most dangerous. Talk about selling to a group of black people that literally probably overwhelmingly got underweaving basket degrees inside of the audience, liberal arts degrees and theater majors. Talk about selling a narrative over to black people. The most. Jesus. This man said the biggest threat to our nation is white supremacy. What? What? Not China. Not inflation. Not digital currency. Not BlackRock or Vanguard that literally owns a whole country themselves and is controlling who is getting elected and what's happening in the White House. Not violence that's happening in Chicago. Not these liberal views and these criminal underworlds that's literally existing inside of San Francisco and Los Angeles. Not jobs. Not homelessness. Not Russia. Not BRICS. Not wars, not cybersecurity threats, not the elimination of jobs from ChatGPT, not infrastructure, not underspending, not the debt ceiling that literally, if we don't pay it or we don't figure something out and they keep raising the debt ceiling, that everything is going to be absolutely catastrophic, not black culture. It's white supremacy. Now, remember, if you look at the census and you look at the data, white people are like a smidgen ahead of black people when it comes to how much financial gain that they have. The overwhelming majority of the people that's on government assistance and social services are white people. It's white people. Listen, he's pandering to an audience. Ear hustling. He said that the greatest threat to the United States today, not any of that other stuff that I just named, is white supremacy. Somebody get Umar Johnson on the line and tell him that Biden has an open position for him in the White House. Not human trafficking, not violent crime, not a reduced population. None of that. None of that means anything. Not underpaying our teachers, not education, It's literally a class war that is happening right before our eyes. I don't remember the last time that I went out to eat. Don't matter if I was going to Applebee's, if I was going to P.F. Chang's, Ruth Chris, J. Alexander's, Capitol Grill, Ocean Prime, nothing. I have not seen a bill that was under $100. I have not seen a bill that's under $100. Not warehouse working, not Amazon, not wages, not none of that. None of those problems. Not immigration closing off our borders, not Title 42 that's about to expire and they're literally overwhelming these cities, not these sanctuary cities, not any of the places that's being built inside of Chicago, because they're not necessarily helping the residents. They're only helping the people that's coming in as migrants into the country. Not Saudi Arabia and China that's actually buying up Africa and all of the resources. Not our dependence on foreign oil that then manipulates the prices and determine what it is. Not the sanctions that's going over in Iran and North Korea. None of those things none of those things are important. Nothing is more important. Not the incoming collapse of the American dollar, the real estate market, the commercial real estate market, and the gnashing of the teeth that is possibly going to upend everything that you've ever thought of in your entire life. Not students asking for student loan forgiveness, most enrolled, but the most in debt. None of that stuff happened. Not the collapse of SV, the Silicon Valley Bank, not Republic Bank, not the collapse of the banking system, the removal of the deposits that's going inside of these institutions, because banks can literally borrow at 10 times the amount of the deposit. So when they start to collapse because they're over leveraged and they're taking on too much risk, then the federal government has to print more money, and then the debt ceiling continues to go up while they continue to raise rates in order to fight inflation. None of that stuff matters. It's white supremacy. Oh man, my people, tell me that y'all not just falling for this. Are y'all still this far in the dark? It's white supremacy. And he's saying this at a historically black college, Howard. Right after playing up on the Divine Nine. Okay, let's see what else we got to say. Because I'm almost done with this speech. I know we only halfway through it, and we sped it up in order to be able to get through it, but I'm almost done.
And I'm not saying this because I'm at a black HBCU. I say
well,
wherever
black,
I go.
Because he's at a. Is there such thing as a white HBCU? Jesus Christ. Oh, snaps.
To stand up for truth over lies, lies told for power and profit. To confront the ongoing assault to subvert our elections, suppress our right to vote. That assault came just as you cast your first ballots in 20 and 22. Record turnouts. You delivered historic progress. I made it clear that Americans of all backgrounds, have an obligation to call out political violence that has been unleashed and emboldened. As was mentioned already, bomb threats at this very university and HBCUs across the country.
Ain't nobody trying to bomb
Put democracy
Howard.
on the ballot.
Ain't nobody trying to bomb Howard. Why would they bomb our indoctrination camps that's teaching our kids how to be like Dwayne Wade's kids? Who's trying to bomb Howard? Somebody tell me that. Listen, if anybody is honestly trying to get to Howard, that's just somebody that's trying to get out of class because they had a test that day and they don't want to take it. Ain't nobody trying to get at Howard. Stop it, bro. Except for these hoes that was doing Freaknik back in 94 that don't want the footage to come out. Ain't nobody thinking about putting nothing at Howard. Stop. So they could have went at any university. They could have went to Yale. They could have went to Harvard. They could have went and made threats at MIT. And they went over to Howard.
To reject political extremism and reject political violence. Protect fundamental rights and freedom for women to choose, for transgender children to be free, for affordable health care and housing.
All right. Now you're going into transgender children and all this to be free and Come on, man. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm out. That's all I got to give to this particular thing. I can't do it. I'm not built for it. This is not my fight. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not built for it. I'm not about to sit here and go through this nonsense. This is the biggest crock of shit that I've seen in a long time. But shout out to Sleepy Joe for continuing to fool y'all